Hello, it's a SIG Node CI weekly meeting. It's December 14th. Let's get started. First topic was how to increase team velocity on issue response. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So we have been tackling some node conformance debugging last week, and this raised to my mind, like, how can we organize better these efforts on this group, and how to have a better tracking of the issues each one is working, or the distribution of tasks. Because from the experience, like, we had a lot of direct messages or different channels and different scopes. Maybe it would be good to centralize. Like, I think the problem is like how to improve the efforts and of the team and make it more accurate and get some velocity, and how to spread the knowledge of what we are doing. So I have two suggestions here. Like, maybe we could centralize in one Slack channel, or maybe the alerts and the meetings are being enough. I don't know.
I have the same exact question: how to get knowledge spread, and we can, like, if Slack is the answer, we can use SIG Node Slack. I mean, it's not very high traffic, so we can discuss everything there. So is it the issue? Like, I have both issues. Like, I understand which issues are being worked on, and like what is currently need to be worked on, and we typically try to bring it into this meeting and find somebody to work on it. At the same time, ongoing investigations are typically happening in private, as I understand, and like some people like pair up and try to investigate. So maybe we can improve this part and like do it more openly in SIG Node channel.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I think either we need to, decide that we're comfortable having all these conversations inside of SIG Node, and it's probably fine for that to happen. I think we just need to make it happen there. I'm also fine with the separate Slack channel, but as you say, SIG Node isn't super busy, so that's probably fine.
Yeah, and SIG Node will also increase visibility into issues that we're dealing with. So maybe we can recruit more people to help.
Yeah, cool. About the visibility, we have the alerts, but we almost no sync what each one is working besides the calls. So, or the final status of each task,
All right, so you want more tracking. Do we need to have this tracking once a week on this meeting, or do you want to have tracking like more real time?
I think it would be good to have more real-time visibility, but if the tracking on this meeting is fine, like, I think it's fine.
I mean,
sorry, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I mean, yeah, if we're adding more visibility by being better about having conversations in the SIG Node Slack channel, and we're updating issues as we're working on them, and we're good about that, then it seems like having like handling some of that in this weekly meeting and the rest through, the Slack channels and GitHub issues seems fine to me, but I'm open on that.
The other thing that I was going to ask is on finding issues and keeping up with issues. The project board, is that do people actually use it? And if people actually use it, is that helpful, or do we need, or should we think of something other than the GitHub project board?
Well, I think the problem with that now is it seems like the project board is out of date. Like, seems like we need to make it a little bit more manageable to what's actually being worked on and tracked, and then maybe that will be a more useful tool.
Yeah, project board requires a lot of attention, I think. I mean, from my interactions with project boards before, it works really nice when you track specific project and you literally like use it in daily stand-ups and update bugs on the stand-up. And I'm not sure whether everybody has permissions to update bugs here.
So, throwing a proposal. If we committed to keeping up the project board up to date, if we can, if we can do it async or on another meeting, but if we could commit to once per week, we just go to the project board, move things around, update things. Do you all, and assuming that everyone on this call had proper access to do all of those things, do you all think that will be a good way forward, or that we need something else?
If these things work flawless, I think this is a good idea, but it will require more effort. I'm up to it.
Yeah, we can try. I can take an action item. Unfortunately, like last week was lost for me again, and now kids sick again. So sometimes it's really hard to allocate enough time to do this work.
Well, maybe the board we can keep updated as part of this meeting. If we use like this meeting as kind of more of a, around the project board a little bit more, and then, keep it up to date as part of that, and then maybe that will work. I mean, it looks like there's not too many issues on it right now, so I guess we're not in as bad of a place as I thought we were, but yeah.
No, keeping action items is clearly a good idea. Like, I mean, I lost track of what's going on with faking NUMA, for instance, or what's going on with this Docker tab deprecation. I remember we've been discussing it for a while, and we didn't have anybody from Docker reply to us, so we decided to remove it. And I lost track of like whether we did it or anybody like tracking it at all. So project board will definitely help to keep to get some closure on issues. Like you will know whether the issue resolved itself or it's still active, and we just stopped paying attention on it. So that clearly will be helpful. So let's try to update it during these meetings every week.
Okay.
Is everybody around next week? It will be 14. It will be Christmas week, right, in US.
I should be around.
Okay, so we have at least a few people, so we can try to play it with it and spend more time. I also like the proposal. If you read this proposal from Wojtek from Reliability Working Group, he's putting together a proposal to, I mean, the main idea of the document he wrote is all PRs should be stopped if CI signal is broken, and CI in a bigger sense. So if there are flakiness in test, or it's failures starting happening in critical test, in this case, all PRs should be stopped unless flakiness or failure is addressed. So in this proposal, I mean, this is like very drastic and dramatic proposal, and not everybody agree with that, so it's still under discussion. But one of the items in this proposal is to have a direct link from test grid to the issue that discussing this test failure. So that may be a very nice thing to track items as well. So you just go to test matrix and test grid and know which, like for every failure, where this failure being discussed. So you can join the discussion. Has anybody thought about it before? Okay, so if Wojtek will figure out how to build it and improve this, it will clearly improve collaboration, because now you know where the issue is discussed and you can join the discussion anytime and see the current status. But it's orthogonal to project board. It's another way to get into the list of active items. Anyway, so let's try this like SIG Node for discussions and update project board starting next week. Matthew, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so last week I took a look at the node conformance or node kubelet conformance test failures. And so a couple things. So this basically, speaking of issues that have been kind of like languishing for a while, the node kubelet master, node kubelet conformance seeming like duplicates. So in this issue, basically what I found is that when you set the like the test suite conformance flag, then it kind of takes its own little path, and as we discussed before, basically uses Docker. But what it also does is it ignores the Ginkgo flags that you set, and it automatically selects the conformance flag. And so as a result of this, the node kubelet conformance tests actually don't run the node conformance tests, they just run the conformance tests. And as a result of that, this test that was failing wasn't actually intended to be added to the node conformance test in the first place, so it never should have ran. So basically, it kind of brings us back to not having closed the loop on what we were going to do about the conformance test, because basically where that was at, from what I remember, is sent an email regarding what to do about it and never got a response. So so I don't know if we decided exactly what we were going to do, but basically our options in this case are, we, as a first step to make the test pass, we removed the test suite conformance flag, which will just run the node conformance test, but it'll basically be just like the node kubelet master. And then we make a decision after that, or we remove the node kubelet conformance tab altogether, or we fix it. And fixing it will be basically making sure that the Ginkgo flags get passed in, and then kind of tracking down the spot where Ginkgo ends up flipping back to the conformance flag, or the conformance tag, rather than the node conformance tag. So I put up a PR to remove like the test suite conformance thing, and there's some discussion on that and whether or not that's the right first step, or if we should just go straight to our, you know, final desired state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm still not sure what the final desired state is.
Yeah, so that was my problem in terms of not what to do. Like, this will fix the test, but it won't leave things in a state that we love. I mean, currently the kubelet conformance tests are not actually testing what we want anyway. I mean, they are running in Docker, so there's that part of it, but yeah.
So your PR is just fixing the situation by removing a conformance test out of not conformance type, right? So this at least will make test grid clean. So we can proceed with that for as a minimal step, and then we still need to decide on our future.
Yeah, so that's my personal opinion is, yeah, just make it green and accept that it's kind of a duplicate right now, and then take the action of either fixing it or making the conformance test what we want, or just getting rid of them altogether. And I'm happy with that as a first step. The question is, then how do we, like, given we kind of didn't gather much steam on our previous path, like, what do we want to do next to kind of make a decision on this? I'm also would be okay saying, well, we don't have anyone currently advocating to keep these, so why don't we just kill them and, see if anyone objects to that.
I wanna throw another proposal. I don't. I think there's the issue that you added on the notes. The first issue where we started talking about how both of these are duplicates. There is a super old document that was sent to us by Don, I think, where it's like the original proposal for why node conformance tests were added as a first step, and just to make sure that we keep track of this and we don't lose it again. What would you all think of just going through that doc again and then creating an update for what is the current state, the things that we're doing, and if we could also document everything that you just said in one place where we can find it, that isn't an issue. I think based on that, documentation wise, that will be good, and also I think it might provide more context for us to make a plan. What you all think?
It all sounds good. We clearly need to document it and try to fish documentation out of that original document. The problem is, like, even with this document, everybody read it, and like, I still not clear why we need node conformance and what is different from regular conformance, and like where it's intended to run. That kind of questions.
So
my understanding so far is node conformance is something that runs on CI, and master is runs on like CI. I mean, like on pull requests, and master runs all the time outside of pull requests. So it's the only difference I know.
The other quick thing on that is that if I recall correctly, in the super old doc that is part of the thing, I might be remembering this wrong. I'm looking for the issue right now, but I think that there is a line somewhere in the why we are doing this, where it says that the node conformance tests are meant to be run within the node test suite, which is everything that uses which is the thing that's under test dash node. And so I think it was a way of separating which tests are going to which tests developed by SIG Node are meant to be run by the node test suite versus which tests are versus the tests are supposed to be run with as normal Kubernetes C2E test, which are in which are all placed together under the other directory in Kubernetes. The one thing that I don't think that I don't know if we know is whether there is a complete separation on the tests that are supposed to be run by the node test suite versus the cluster test suite. If there is a complete separation, then it is very likely that we can just get rid of the node conformance tag. If there are tests from one directory that are running in one of the other. For example, if we have some tests under KK test E2E that we run on the node test suite, that will be where we will run into issues possibly. If all of that makes sense. I feel like I said node and suite way too many times.
So do you mean that node conformance is a conformance, same as conformance under a different folder? Is that your understanding?
Something, if I recall correctly, I think that was the aim of it. So again, just to try to draw a mental picture. If you go into Kubernetes, you have two directories in the under test. You have, I mean, at least two directories that we care about: test -node, and then just test. Everything under test, they run as a cluster, E2E test. Everything under test underscore node, they run with our node test suite. And the node conformance tag was, I think, was a way of making sure that we could specify which test is supposed to be run on by which node test, by which suite, whether node test suite or the cluster test suite. And the thing that will, I think the thing, one of the things that will be useful to know is whether we have, after so many years of that decision being made, we have actually just clustered together all the tests that are supposed to be run by the node test suite under the same directory, or if we are still running tests from the that are also running on the cluster suite.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether this separation is accurate. I remember this probes tests. I think the probes test under E2E folder, not under node E2E folder, but I may be wrong. Oh yeah, they are in the E2E node. You may be right. You might be correct. I mean, that may be exactly the case. And I was never thought about it this way.
Yeah, there are things like that, and at least that was also the other reason for why to make an update to that document, just to double check that kind of thing, to figure out whether it is going to whether it will be a problem or if we could just move on.
Oh no, so I actually was wrong. So there is I'm sending it to chat. So node conformance is just added to exec probes, and I think this is wrong, right? Because this is E2E folder, not node and E2E folder.
Yeah, this is kind of a confusion that's happening. So the question is like, what this test should be running right now? Only node conformance tests?
I know, but I mean, to the Jorge point, node and regular tests should be like run a little bit differently. So adding node conformance tag to both may be confusing and maybe leading to failures. Because if you pick all the node conformance from different folders, then it may confuse the execution.
Okay.
Yeah, I think another aspect to that though is how the tests are run, because like the conformance tests are run differently than say the kubelet master tests. And I just don't know, like, is that important for the conformance test to run differently, or can we just run the whatever tag we decide on and be happy with that?
Yeah, with the regular conformance, there are clearly a differentiation what they can and cannot do. So like maybe that's why like they packaged in Docker somehow, and like you can run them on any environment. I don't know whether what the same was a plan for node conformance, but it seems that nobody owns node conformance except us, and we need to decide what to do with that.
Well, it's like node conformance was kind of like, you know, maybe like 90% finished, and then we're trying to figure out the last 10%, and whether or not we want to make that investment. Anyway, I think Jorge's proposal to make a doc make sense, and you know, I can probably take a first crack at that and then send it to everyone, and people can add comments, questions, and then once we're kind of feel okay about that, you know, maybe we can maybe get Dawn or someone to take a look at it too.
It's a good idea. So yeah, let's put doc together. So I mean, email was very good. I mean, it has some informative links, but maybe document will be even more descriptive.
Yeah, I think a document's going to be better. It'll be easier to ping people and have a conversation, because clearly the email didn't go anywhere. You know, I probably didn't write it actionably enough, but also I think it's not a great forum for conversation.
Okay, thank you. I think last item. Last item was added by James, and I don't see James on the call, so we need to figure out ourselves.
I'm reading through the PR as well, and I guess it's just asking us whether anyone here can give an LGTM to this, which is essentially, do we want to switch CI to run containerd by default?
Yeah, I still have an action item to figure out which test runs on Docker, so we're not losing Docker shim test coverage. Okay, let me take an action item here. I will. Okay, any other topics for today? If there's no more topics, let's call it a day. Thank you everybody for joining. Nice
Sorry, quick
Yep,
thing.
go ahead.
Actually, I asked Victor for access to the project board. So Sergey, you're an admin now, and if anybody needs access to it because they can add issues or move things around, just ping, and
Thank you.
we'll get you set.
Thank you. Okay. Now, okay, let's call it today. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Good one.
Thank you, Paul. Bye.
Thanks.